Hi, I'm Ruben from Acterys. Today I'm going to show you how our customers are using Acterys in Power BI to handle real-time allocations, solve problems with Excel sheets, complex data, and inconsistent models. A common struggle we're seeing is that this ends up back in Excel, which unfortunately has problems with version control, auditability, and consistency. With Acterys, we enable you to capture this information directly in Power BI into a SQL database with user permissions and a full audit trail. This enables you to model out allocations in real time in a governed, scalable environment. So let me show you quickly an example of this using Power BI and Acterys for workflow allocations. Within Power BI, for this particular model, we have employees down the vertical axis and we have the cost centers across the horizontal axis. Whereas with a standard Power BI visual, you could simply look at this data. With Acterys, you can actually make changes to it. Again, everything is logged. So when I make a change, we can see the old value, the new value, and who made the change as part of the database. For example, if I come in here to change the allocation for Matthew Davis from 20% to 30% for the supply chain ops and click save, that's immediately logged and saved into the database. I can straight away see across the report the outputs of that. In this case, the output is very simple. It's just a total allocation. But any other logic that you've got built into Power BI can immediately be refreshed to show the output of that across the screen. In this case, it's just workforce allocations, but this could be GL data, this could be budgeting data, it could be any data that's relevant to your business. If you have this data in Power BI, you can very easily connect it to Acterys and write back in a logged, secure manner and view the changes immediately to the existing models that you have. You can see here now that we've made the change that the allocation for Matthew Davis is 110%. This is variable formatting that is built into Acterys. You can use this in conditional formatting to be able to very easily display changes to the data in a very visual method for your users. In this case, it's indicated that we're over-allocated. If I come back in here and change the total allocation by reducing it to 10% for the financial control center, once the database updates and refreshes, we'll see the 100% total and the error message has gone away. Importantly, this is changed the database. In this report, I can actually click the View Change History button. I can come in here and I can see all the changes that have been made by me to this data structure. Again, every change that's made in Acterys is logged. This view is just showing the summary here. It makes it very easy to look at the database and understand where changes have occurred and gives you full rollback capability. As well as making numerical change to data structure here, I can actually add rich text changes directly to the database. For example, for Matthew Davis, if I want to come in here and make a comment for the Financial Control Center, I can make a comment that is rich text. I can make it bold. I can buy hyperlinks. I can link it to a Teams comment or to a Teams folder, the Teams integration. And I can save that directly into the database. It's then marked here and indicated that a comment exists at this cell. And these can also be reported on at a top-level basis. They're just data in a SQL table. It's very important with Acterys. Everything that occurs is just happening in a SQL database. Super easy to be able to look at it and to interact with it directly at database level without having to integrate through an API. It's a very simple example of using Acterys to be able to capture numerical feedback to be able to handle allocations. These allocations can be part of the budget process, or they can be for any other part of your business planning. In fact, any of the data that you capture in Acterys doesn't have to be related necessarily to a planning or budgeting process. This could be real-time information about a fleet, about employee allocations, about resource allocations across the business. Any data that you want to capture in Acterys in a logged format in a SQL database with user permissions is possible right now. If there's any part of your business processes that could be improved by capturing user input directly in Power BI, please reach out to Acterys.